So the sketch that I'll be using for this example is this one here. Its number is 2348 and you can see it on the Tech Explorations Arduino Step by Step Getting Serious GitHub account right here. Scroll down to the repository, list, and this is the sketch that we are looking at right now. Have a look at the documentation that I provide and the notes to help you out with the setup. I'm going to go back to the Arduino IDE, and now, as I said earlier, we can use a breadboard to connect your sensors, just like you've seen in previous lectures in this course and in Arduino Step by Step Getting Started. We have already set up the Arduino IDE with the appropriate libraries, so the Helium Util, Wire, BMP 085, DHT sensors, or whatever other sensors you want to plug in. So there's no need to do much work here. Now in line 86, I defined the channel name to be this, HTTP Helium test, which is the channel we've been using all along in these examples, the one that we used for the Hello World program and onwards. Later on, I'm going to switch channels to my Heroku web applications, where just by redefining the channel name and without making any other changes in the rest of my sketch. But I'll explain more about this in a later part of this lecture. So for now, you can totally ignore line 87 and just know that we'll be sending all our data to the HTTP Helium test channel. You can also safely ignore lines 91 and 94. These are configurations that I'll show you how we can update through the air later on. For now, we're just going to concentrate to grab the data from the sensors and send the data over to our request bin. Nothing changes here. Lines 96, 99, 101, we just set up the various objects that is C objects that we need in order to send our data through. Lines 105 and 106 is where we set up the sensors. You can also totally ignore the code inside the update config function. I'll talk about it later. In setup, nothing fancy happens. We start the communications with the Helium network. We start our sensors, so the DHT and the BMP sensors, and we turn off the LED. Inside the loop, the beginning of the loop, we turn on the LED because next we get readings from the sensors, the DHT and the BMP sensor. I'll explain what is happening in these lines in a minute. I want to go straight into sprintf first, which you recognize from the previous part of this lecture. So what we're doing here is that we are putting together the string that eventually will be stored inside the payload underscore message character array. And the string is formatted as per the contents of this parameter inside the double quotes. So we've got %s, which accommodates strings. So this %s placeholder will be replaced by the contents of the t_result character array. That is going to be followed by a comma, which is followed by another string. This is a placeholder for the second string component, which is the content of the h_result character array. H stands for humidity. That is followed by another comma, which is followed by another string. That's a placeholder for the third string, which is the content of the p_result character array. P stands for pressure. That is followed by another comma, and finally we've got an integer here. That's what %i is, a placeholder for an integer, which is stored inside the location_id. These are just variables that I define. Now these variables, t_result, h_result, p_result, and location id, are put together up here. So remember, up here at the beginning of the loop, for example, we populate the h float variable with the humidity from the DHT sensor. We need to convert this into characters into a character array, into a string, so that we can pass it on to, where is it? Down here, we can pass it on to the channel_send function. So in order to do this conversion from floating point number to a string, we use the D to strf function. This is another C function. So the parameters that are expected by this function is first the floating point number that we want to convert. And then at the last parameter, we've got a character array with sufficient space to store this new string. And we define that character array here, the underscore resolve, we make it 6 characters in total size. So basically it's 5 characters plus we need a terminating character at the end to indicate the end of that string. And then we're saying that this is going to be a total of 5 characters that we'll put into this character array, of which the last 2 characters are the floating point number. So I'll make a little note here. So let's say that the temperature is 23.10. So you can see that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters. We've got 5 characters in here, and that's what this number 5 means. And as for the decimal past the little dot point, we've got 1, 2, and that is what this number 2 indicates. So that's a way by which we can format a floating point number into a character array. We do the exact same thing here for the humidity value, and the exact same thing here for the atmospheric pressure value. So we get our component strings. We use a printf function to put all that nicely formatted with commas inside the payload message. And then we use channel_send to send this payload message to our channel. So then eventually it will appear in our request bin. When the transmission ends, we are going to turn off the LED, so it goes low. And you can ignore the rest from this point onwards. I'll explain it a bit later. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to learn more, check out my Arduino Step-by-Step Getting Started and Arduino Step-by-Step Getting Serious courses on the Tech Explorations School. There, I help you develop basic and more advanced Arduino skills, including how to write your own programs, how to use all sorts of sensors and actuators, and how to create your own gadgets. You may also be interested in my project courses, where you get deep into the development of wheeled robots, remote-controlled cars, and drones. Please use the coupon code in the description below this video to get a YouTube exclusive discount to my courses. See you there.